I was editing a video
Mm-hmm.
and like in the middle of the video, I burped, but I mean, like, who cares? Like, people burp.
Right,
But
right.
like, I forgot that I did it, and it
Did you scare
scared
yourself?
me when I was editing. I was like, "Oh, girl, you're gross." You're
Human
disgusting.
functions here. Human
You're
functions are happening.
disgusting.
You're so gross. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, how do I have two copies of The Secret History? Hmm.
I don't know why you have two copies.
One's going back to McKay. It'll be this mass market paperback because then I got this nice one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen there. Again, slowly making my little McKay box. So you know how that is.
When we've
All
ironed
right.
down our trip for me, visit for you. I'll see what I can get rid of on top of what I already have on Pango.
Right.
But it's not that bad. I have like 2 bins.
It's not
Normally
bad at
I
all.
have like 97 things.
I know. I want us to go back to that one in Rockville, Second Story.
Yes.
I want us to go back there. That was a great one.
I dream of that place sometimes. That place is phenomenal.
It was. We have to go back there. I think we should hit that one first.
We
Yeah.
found some good stuff there. I feel like anytime a place has like, it's like cavernous, the bookshelves go to the ceiling and you have to use a ladder, you're doing good. Like, you're gonna find something good.
We found some great stuff there.
We really did.
Yeah. So
and then the little library one was okay.
That was a good one too. We wrecked
that one was
up in that one too.
That was pretty good too.
Yeah, so we got to hit those two again. We always say McKay for last because
Yeah.
Yeah. But
McKay will do. That's right.
Yeah.
I just don't know about anybody else.
No, I think that we didn't really find the others to be like, oh man, these are like great finds. You know, I mean,
there was that like comic one that was really, I feel like everything was like overly priced.
That was Wonder Books, and I agree. That was Wonder. I think I got one book out of there, Swamplandia.
I got something out of there, but not like a lot.
Right. But it was that Second Story store and that Friends of the Library one. Those were 2 gems.
They had like a really good literary criticism section.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's going to be day 1 for sure. That side of town in Maryland. Yeah. And maybe we'll pop by. There is this bookish podcast. One of the hosts just opened up a bookstore in Bethesda, I believe, which is like right next door to Rockville. Maybe we'll swing by. Yeah.
Say hello.
Say hello. Hello. You don't know us, but here we are, you know.
Hello.
Anyway, just planning our next trip right on the air.
Yep. It'll be fun. Yeah. It's all right. I'll vlog it again. Take everybody along. Yeah. We'll have a little Naomi and Alyssa time.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time.
Show everybody all the books we get. Or I get them. Show the books you get.
That's okay. That's okay. I don't even show the books that I get until like 6 months later. I'm so bad. So bad. Anyway, here we are. Welcome back to TBR Lowdown. Woo!
Woo! What have you been reading, my darling?
You're not going to believe this when I tell you. You're not going to believe it. I have been
Colleen Hoover.
Shut your face right now.
Is it?
No.
Are you listening to Colleen Hoover?
No. But I did listen to something. I listened to 4 somethings. All right.
Oh my God, she never listens to anything. Yes.
I know. Okay, so folks, so normally when I'm at work, I'm either listening to music or listen to because I'm a big podcast hound. I listen to a lot of podcasts, or I'm watching a show on my phone. But I was in a mood for some romance. Okay. And so I went scrolling through the apps and I remembered somebody a few years ago talking about this series called The McClain Brothers. So I searched for that and I was like, okay, I'll listen to book 1, which is called Let Me Love You, McClain Brothers #1 by Alexandria House. I listen to that book all day at work. All day at work. The next day, I listen to book 2, Let Me Hold You. The next day, I listen to book 3, Let Me Show You. The next day, I listen to book 4, Let Me Free You. I was all in with the McClain brothers. All in. I had the best time. And this was like a really stressful work week. And it really helped me just to kind of like get out of my head a little bit and just enjoy these stories. I had a great time with this series, the McClain brothers. I loved every minute of it. Thank you, Alexandria House, for these works of romance goodness that you've given us. And this is coming from someone who was not a romance girly. I enjoyed these books a great deal. So that's what I've been reading lately. What about you?
So sometimes you need to read trashy books to get through life. Okay, that's how I got through nursing school.
They were very, very good. But also, like, I don't know, they're just very good. I love them. I love them. Now I'm addicted to her. So I don't know what else she has, but I'm going to find out.
Okay. I'm going to do a shameless plug. So I was thinking, and I was dropping a pen.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
So I am behind on my posts, but I'm not behind on my reading for my year with Edith Wharton.
Mm-hmm.
And so this next book, the March-April book, is The Custom of the Country. So I am done with this, but I just want to slide this in here for anybody who wants to read or can follow along or whatever. So this one is set in New York, but also goes to France and a little bit all over Europe as well. And we have Undine Spragg, which is just what a name. And she is, you have it too?
Yes, I should join this time because I could start right at the beginning. So this is what you said? April, May?
March, April.
Okay, good. I can start. Okay, great.
Yeah, so I'm working on my first reading post. So we have Undine Spragg. She is the only daughter of newly minted new money, and that comes from the Midwest. And she's determined to crack into high society, right? She's going to get there come hell or high water. She follows all the social clippings and news bits and uses them to try to be the perfect person to fit into high society so that she can snag a good husband. But the thing about Undine is she's never satisfied. So no matter how many times she makes a match, she isn't really ever satisfied with it when she gets there. So she does go through a couple husbands. There's some secrets from her past in the made-up Apex, which is the town she comes from the Midwest. She is very spoiled. She's a force of nature. Okay, you cannot stop Undine. Do you like her? I don't know. You also don't necessarily hate her, but we're also looking at a lot of things like the rise of new money, capitalism in America, the difference between European and American values, the different things that each value, the clashing between those societies. It's really good. I think I had a good time. It's a whole different tone to the House of Mirth. This is a little bit maybe sillier in a lot of ways. It's a lot more satirical. There are these moments where you can feel Wharton talking to you, kind of from her soapbox through a side character. Some side character will come out and just randomly have this soliloquy about something about American culture or something like that, and it feels like she's giving you a little lecture on her beliefs about capitalism or whatever. So it's fun. It goes fast. There were a couple shocking moments as well. It's a good time.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited. And what were the first 2 books? You did a reread of The House of Mirth?
No, this is the second book. So the first book was The House of Mirth. Then it's The Custom of the Country. I think.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. So I already read the House of Mercy. I'm on time. I'm on schedule then for you.
You're
okay,
on time.
great.
And then I think it's the Twilight Sleep, if I remember correctly. And then over the summer, we do Summer and Ethan Frome together.
Okay,
If I'm
I do
remembering
have
this
Ethan
correct.
Frome.
And then The Reef is in there somewhere. And then we end with Age of Innocence. I was like, my brain, make it work.
And I have Age of Innocence.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so that's how
I've got 3 out of the whatever number. Okay, great.
You'll get there. It'll be fine. You have time.
Excited.
So I have another little shout out from comments. So leave a comment and I will shout things out. This is from our Is Literary Fiction Dead? This is Kathy R. I don't know who that. I'm making it a pirate. We mentioned a booktuber that talks a lot about indie presses, and she says, or they say, I wonder if the booktuber you are referring to is Sarah from Eyes on Indie, and I think it actually is.
She has a great channel.
She exclusively reads from indie presses and promotes lit awards that feature them, specifically the Republic of Consciousness Prize from the UK and the US/Canada. She has introduced me to many interesting indie lit fic titles and presses that I would not have otherwise heard of, even some in her Discord. You are?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Because she reads the Republic of Consciousness Prize and she has a Discord channel for it. I adore her. She has a fantastic channel. I like her a lot. She's got a great personality too. She seems so nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for your comment.
Yes, thank you.
We appreciate the comments.
Yes, and that's definitely the person I was thinking of and couldn't quite place.
Yeah.
Anyway, why are we all here? We are gathered here today for what?
Well, we're still on our dark academia. What are we gonna call it? I don't know what we're calling it.
Smorgasbord?
Journey?
Oh.
Smorgasbord. We've read The Secret History and talked about that. We've read Black Chalk and talked about that. And this episode, we're going to be talking about a separate piece by John Knowles. Oh, I saw that copy. That's a cute one, too. This is set in a boarding school in New England during the early years of World War II. Let's see. Phineas is a handsome, taunting daredevil athlete. What happens? Oh, and Jean is a lonely, introverted intellectual. What happens between the two friends one summer, like the war itself, banishes the innocence of these boys and their world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've had this copy since I was. Whenever we read this, I think we read this in
middle school,
something like that.
High school.
I've had this since then.
I love that. I love that for you.
I'm sure I read it then too, but I don't recall it.
Right.
So it's a coming of age story. I wanted Jean and Phineas to be hella gay, and of course they weren't. Don't you just want them to have this like queer awakening? And
right. That would have been nice. That would have been nice for sure.
Someone rewrite this. That's the end of this video.
We don't want it to be like these Violent Delights. That got a little crazy, but like, something more sweet.
Yeah, like a nice one. Like, you're not getting murderous.
Yeah, not murderous. Not murderous.
No, talking of murderousness, there is an event in here that is a little bit.
Yeah.
So Jean and Phineas have a very intense friendship. Phineas is he's like the all-star, right? Like he's good at everything he does. He's good at. Maybe not academically so as much, but like he's charming, he's funny, like people like him, he's good at sports, like he's like the guy that you would envy, I guess, if you were the dorkier kid, if you were Jean. And there's also a little bit of, while you admire them, you also have this little bit of jealousy, right? Mm-hmm. And that little bit of jealousy, really, on both parts for different things.
Yep.
And one day the boys are playing, they're playing some game where they jump from like a tree branch into like this pond. Because I think we're actually kind of between terms almost, right? Like it's like a weird time. They're like they have a lot of freedom, I guess is what I'm saying.
It's summer session.
Yeah, summer, so there's not as much going on. It's a little bit more relaxed, and they're jumping into this pond or whatever, and things come over Jean. And Jean gives into the jealousy for a second, and Phineas kind of tumbles into the lake and ends up hurting his leg quite badly.
Yeah.
And that really changes the dynamic of Phineas's life. He's really athletic. Athletics is everything. He doesn't have the athletics anymore. Jean obviously has a lot of guilt because, I don't think the intention wasn't really that. Little boys they're little boys to me. Right. Little boys make, they make little people. We make decisions. We all do this. Sometimes you just meet, you don't understand the don't understand the consequences of them. So it is a really tragic story. It's ultimately the ending of it is quite a gut punch, and I don't think we need to ruin that for anybody who has somehow gotten through their lives and not read this. But I also really enjoyed the look at so these kids that we're following they're not old enough to go to war, but some of the older boys are going, some of their brothers might be going. There's
right, because this is high school, right?
Yeah, they're their peers are going off to war. And they're just shy of being able to. And this is still you've got this manliness to it, and they're gonna become adults, and so they play at being these soldiers. They play at being adults. They play at the thing, the next phase in their life that they're gonna enter relatively soon.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to look at that play and how that changes them, how they grow, the choices they make. I did enjoy that aspect of it. I do wish it was gayer. I'm going to keep saying that.
Just in case the listener didn't make it clear the first time.
I want this to be gay. Yeah. Because I'm sorry, it's so queer coded. It really is. The way that they both admire each other. Yes. The way they admire each other.
It's we were right there, right on the edge.
We were so just make out already. It is
exactly.
So
yeah.
Anyway.
So let's take it back, right? Just so the folks understand. So it's during summer session, and they're all out playing or whatever, and what happens? They want to jump out of a tree, right? What's the guy's name? What's the athlete's guy's name? The athletic one. What's his name?
Phineas?
Yes. Phineas is daring them to jump out of a tree, right? And so he's like, we'll all jump together and cement our partnership, right? And then he decides they're going to call it the Suicide Society of the Summer Session. So now it's a thing. It's been formalized. They jumped out the tree together. There is a partnership, and they formed this club. And I thought it was funny because every night they go out and do this thing, and Gene just hates every minute of it. He's terrified to jump out this tree. He hates it, but he's going along with it because Phineas is all about it. He's all about this dare, and I think that he knows that Gene doesn't like it, and I think that kind of eggs him on to really want to make him do it every day. It's that kind of a cat and mouse kind of a thing where he's toying with him all the time, and he knows how uncomfortable Gene is, and he knows Gene is going to go along with it, which he does.
Yeah, because the young men are shits.
Yes, they are. So it says, we met every night because Finney's life was ruled by inspiration and anarchy, which was true. So true. Yeah. Oh, I also wanted to say that unlike Black Chalk, I did like this book. I didn't love it, but I liked it. Because sometimes some of age stories are hard for me. Sometimes I get very bored by them. But I like this one. It was fine.
I think it was fine. I just think that I wonder if it's still being taught in schools or if they've come up with something new.
Ooh, I would love to know that. Hey, are any English teachers listening that are middle school or high school teachers, do you all teach a separate piece? Let us know. I would love to know that.
Because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's very much of a time. I think if you
Mm-hmm.
grew up in the 50s and 60s, like I understand why this would be like something that perhaps you connect with. It probably is more
Yeah.
similar to your boyhood.
Mm-hmm.
But is there a book that is a little bit more relatable to a modern young boy
Yeah.
than a separate piece? I mean, but
Ooh.
I loved seeing these boys all sort of interact with each other. I love like they ultimately try to figure out like what happened with Phineas. Why did he fall? Because it's just not something that Phineas isn't he's graceful, right? Like he's athletic.
Yeah.
This is not normal. So they
Right.
kind of like they start to like poke and prod, and they end up doing this mock trial. And the
Mm-hmm.
whole setup of this book is that, you know, Gene is looking back on the events of his young life
Right.
and sort of reflecting and processing them and telling us this story. I did enjoy the like mirroring that like frame of the opening and ending chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really enjoyed that, like the structure of the book. I thought that was
Yeah.
very well done. Um, but like, I just don't know how like it was also kind of abrupt. Like it goes a little quickly.
Yeah.
We go from like 0 to 60 kind of quick,
We do.
and then somehow we ramp it up even further.
Yeah. Especially the
Which
parts about like I don't know who it was that was like really trying to go to war.
mhm. Was it
Um,
Brinker?
I think so. Who was writing all those letters and trying to get in?
Oh no, it's
No,
Leper.
that wasn't
Leper is
him. Yeah.
no. Oh, he's the first to enlist. I
Who
think he
was the
has it right.
one? No, I think it was. I think it was Gene. No, Phineas. Right? Didn't he write all those letters? Where was that? See, I only dog ear, and I've got to go back and find stuff. So I guess we should talk about too. So he hurt. Okay, so he hurt his leg the first time, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then what happens is Phineas then fixates on making Gene this great athlete, right?
Yes,
Because now
he's
he can no longer
projecting.
train, and so now he's like all eyes on Gene and trying to make him this great athlete. And I don't know, it was it was kind of, I don't know, it felt so weird because do you think Gene liked that?
No,
Because
I
he's
don't think
more
Gene
of an
did.
intellectual, but he really can't. It's almost like he can't say no to Phineas, and he's
I don't
always
think
trying
he
to
ever
please
could say
Phineas.
no. I don't think he ever could. And then after the incident, I don't think he can at all because of the guilt. And
Right,
so I think he almost feels like he has to like do whatever Phineas can no longer do so that
right,
Phineas can sort of live vicariously through him.
right. Because that's exactly what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
They had such a strange relationship.
Because
Um,
it should be gay. I'm sorry. If they had just been allowed to be honest with each other,
yeah, I
I
know.
think we would have solved a lot of these problems. Okay.
Right,
Maybe
right.
Phineas would have a different outcome.
Maybe, maybe. I didn't think it was going to go there. I know we're not going to ruin it for the people, but I'm just saying I didn't think it was going to go there with that.
But it's so sad, and I know it's supposed to be sudden because it's supposed to be like shocking, but like
Yeah.
even just like the lead up to everything is shocking. It's almost like he didn't know what to do, so he just
Mm-hmm.
kind of went like, "Boop, we're gonna do this."
Right. Yep. Yep. And he did
But
it. And I was like, huh, I did not, that's not where I thought we were going, but okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I think it's
I,
interesting that we
mhm.
get to see the boys playing at war and
Yeah.
playing at like at being manly and soldiers, but then you also get to see the first boy who goes to war kind of loses
Mm-hmm.
his mind, and you get to see
Yeah.
how there's play and then there's reality, and they do not one does not represent the other. Um, so there's a lot of, even when you think you're sort of grown up and manly, there's a something like that something like war is going to make you grow and change. And there's so much you're going to have to process beyond anything you could conceptually understand.
Right.
Without going through it.
Right. And now that was Elwyn Lapellier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because he's the one that wrote that telegram, right? The one that escaped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even his little telegram, and he just says, I have escaped and need help. I am at Christmas location. You understand. No need to risk address here. My safety depends on you coming at once. Even that just felt like a little out of his mind. There was such a desperation in that telegram.
Because I think there's like a thing that we have, like you get to that adolescent age and you are so eager to grow up. Like you want to be a grown up so badly.
Mm-hmm.
But if you rush it, you could find that you're not ready for it. And something like war is not something you have a say over, right? So if you're getting drafted to go to war, you're not like, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to be forced to grow up. And even if you're not ready to, right? So you come back broken. And so many people come back broken. Still come back broken.
I think there's just no way, especially at that age, you just do not understand how serious war is. I think that childishness in your brain, you still can't comprehend how absolutely horrific it is to be a part of a war. I think in your mind, maybe you think it's like, like a little bit of, shoot 'em up, bang, bang, like it's just some simple thing, but it's so horrific. And if you ever experience that, I mean, God help you. You know what I mean? Like, it's, especially if you're going to the war as a 16 or 17-year-old, it's not what you thought it was going to be. It's not this easy, like, casual thing.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
It
can
terrifying.
Mentally break you, especially at that age. I mean, they're going in as babies. These are kids.
Yeah. And they haven't seen anything in life. They're also like really coddled kids. Like they're in this
very much
like prep school. It's got like a very, like
you're in a little
British
fortress
prep
of their
school.
own.
Yeah, you're in your own little world, protected and playing at things. And you go from that to the front lines. That's a lot to process.
Right. Yes, it was Phineas. So, he's got this busted leg now. He's no longer a star athlete, so he can't do anything. So he thinks, I can do something in this war, And he's like, I've been writing to the Army and the Navy and the Marines and the Canadians and everybody else all winter, right? And like no one wants him, And then Phineas tries to tell him, like, you wouldn't be good in the war. Like, even if nothing ever happened to your leg, you still wouldn't be good in the war. But Phineas is trying so hard to find some kind of place where he now fits because he has really nothing without his sport. So he's trying to find, where can I fit in now? What can I do now? How can I serve some kind of purpose? How can I have some kind of meaning now that I'm not the star athlete? Like, all those dreams are gone. So what can I do next? Can I be a war hero? What can I do now? And even that is a very childish, immature way of like looking at things, as if you're just gonna, go to war and like become this like hero, like it's so easy, And I like how this book points those things out. Like, although we are talking about very adult things and, they're approaching quote unquote manhood, they're still children, even in the way that they think and the way they respond to their own personal tragedies that have happened.
Yeah. Because you're not a grown up as much as you want to, or you think you are, or you're on the verge of. You're not a grown up. I mean, that section you're talking about, say that, where he says that Phineas, you wouldn't be good. You wouldn't be any good in the war. He says they get you someplace at the front, and there'd be a lull in the fighting, and the next thing anyone knew, you'd be over with the Germans or the Japs, asking if they'd like to field a baseball team against our side. You'd be sitting in one of their command posts teaching them English. Yes, you'd get confused and borrow one of their uniforms, and you'd lend them one of yours. Sure, that's just what would happen. You'd get things so scrambled up, nobody would know who to fight anymore. You'd make a mess, a terrible mess, Finney, out of war.
Yeah.
It's like, but even that is so childish.
Yeah. Yes.
And shows like the lack of understanding about what any of it even means on
Exactly.
both sides.
Yes. Yeah.
Like you're not getting like a recess break.
Right. You're in the shits. You're in the
You're in the
thick of it.
shits. Okay, maybe you're not getting fired out this minute, but you're not like,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
But
I did enjoy it, I think, in general.
yeah, I mean it was fine. It was fine. You know what I mean? Like I'm glad I read it. And I didn't hate it, you know, and unlike Black Chalk, like I didn't feel like this was unbelievable. And more importantly, the things that were going on were age appropriate to the characters in this book.
Yes.
Which is what I
Yes.
had a problem with in Black Chalk. Part of what was not believable was the fact that of how old they were. And those things they were doing didn't match the ages of those characters. In a separate piece, this feels like, yeah, I can see these boys doing these things. These are age appropriate things. These are age appropriate shenanigans. It makes sense, and you can hold on to that.
Yeah. He's gonna like, they get up to no good sometimes. They do silly things. They have this suicide jumping off a tree club, right?
Right.
But they also like are trying to mimic adulthood at the same time. And that's like kind of what you're supposed to be doing then. You're still like 1 foot in childhood, 1 foot in adulthood.
Right, because you're
your
crossing
instinct towards
over,
it.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I also do think maybe the war is looming over their heads. You know, when you're at that age and you see other young boys around your age, you're going off to war. I think that thought that you could be next is always looming over your head. And because you are so young, I don't think you understand how to really properly deal with that potential, evolution of you going to war. It's hard to wrap your head around.
I think there's still like you're longing for the heroism of going to war without understanding what's at stake.
Right.
So they don't have the full comprehension of what the war is. And remember, like, this is being written by Gene as an adult, reflecting back. And so, like, he has a full comprehension. He understands the entirety of the war, right? Like, he understands everything that happened. So I think that like it's even clearer that like these kids they just didn't get it, like you don't get it. You don't get that you're like in this idyllic situation in New Hampshire in the summer with your friends. But there's this bigger than you thing looming to change the like face of the world. But there's also all these other things that are looming that you don't see, like through your, like what happens with Phineas, what happens with the Pellier, like there are, like, you don't know how much you don't know, especially at that age, and how ill-equipped you are at that age for some of these bigger things.
Yes. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good book. It was a good book.
I mean, I understand why it's lasted as long as it has, as sort of like a classic. Like, it's, I think like a lot of US children have read this or have seen it in schools. I just wonder if it's still being taught. That's what I'm not sure about. Because there's things that are relatable, but it's kind of outdated. I mean, just reading the Japs.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I guess there's worse things you could, but there's got to be like a more up-to-date coming of age story that's more applicable to the modern young boy, and I'm just curious as to what that might be, because
I would love to know what it is.
I don't know what that is.
I would love to know. I would especially love to talk to an English teacher who has been teaching long enough to have taught this
and something else
to have replaced it with something else. Like, I would love to get the insights on that from an established English teacher.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Because I wonder how much. I just wonder how kids relate to books that don't have that are this detached from modern society. Like,
right.
You're getting telegrams. Like, do I have to explain to you what a telegram is?
You absolutely would. You absolutely would.
Yeah. And then I start thinking of, and like this just allow me this rabbit hole. Things like that. Like, think about all the technology that, whether we used it or not, existed in our lives, in like you and me, like our generation. And then think about somebody born in like 2000. They don't have as much. Like, we still had telegrams, typewriters, computers, phones,
fax machines.
Cell phones, fax machines. We used to fax each other. We used to fax each other our homework.
Yes. Yes.
And copy it before we had email.
That's right.
Like, we were still writing letters to each other.
Yep. We had encyclopedias.
Yep. File cards. Like, to find a book.
That's right. Payphones.
Like oh my God, the payphones. Like, the amount of just like things that we've gone through. We still had a rotary phone when I was a kid.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yeah.
Like, there's just so many things that we've lived through. And then I just think about like kids born in the 2000s. What did you live through? You're 25 years old now. You're 20 something years old now. What have you lived through?
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much. There's so much.
Because I feel like it was
really hope an English teacher reaches out to us and lets us know. Oh my gosh.
Because like, how do you like, I have to explain?
Yeah.
How the world worked.
Because it is quite different.
It is very different.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my rabbit hole. Thank you for allowing me
that. It. I love it. I love a good rabbit hole. Yeah.
But I think this is definitely like generally better written overall.
For sure.
The Black Chalk. Sure. The structure is fantastic. I think that it's a really well crafted story.
Yes.
That is, there is a timelessness at times to it, but then some of it is like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, the fact that, like, I feel like even like the medicine in here is interesting. Like, the access to care is so different. Like, I looked at my mom's yearbook, and like they had like a school doctor. You're like, what?
Not a school nurse, but a school doctor?
They had those too. They had like a little infirmary.
Wow, I have to ask my mom what she had. Wow, that's
like a whole different world. And my mom went to Catholic school in Long Island, so maybe that was different. But like, it was like such a different world.
English teachers, reach out to us. Let us know.
Yes,
I'm gonna be on a mission. Like, I just need to know.
Yeah, I would love to know if you've replaced, if it still works. Like, does it still work? Do you still like get to talk about the same things about like growing up and youth and war and adulthood and expectations and jealousy and friendships and like all the things that are in here?
Yeah.
Or have you needed to update it to something else because the kids are just not getting it?
I'm definitely gonna, next Friday when I pick up Caleb from school, I'm definitely gonna ask his English teacher. I'm gonna ask her. I've got to know. Yeah, she's the middle school English teacher. I'm very curious. Now, when we took Caleb to one of these Catholic high school open houses, we were in the English department for like an hour. We were just all vibing about books. It was wild. And on their tables, like, they show you all the books that they have the high schoolers read each year. I did not see a separate piece on their tables. But that's just one Catholic high school out of many.
Anymore. But maybe they don't read it anymore.
Oh, I'm so curious. Huh.
It's like, I'm old. So
yeah. Same. Yeah. Huh. Well, again, it was much more enjoyable than Black Chalk.
Much more enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the ending is quite shocking.
Yeah. It is.
And almost unbelievable.
It is. Like, huh? It is. But at least the whole book wasn't unbelievable. Just saying.
Exactly. The premise of the book was totally believable.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And I
those
wasn't
boys
sure.
doing all of it.
Yeah.
Even the mock trial, trying to figure out what happened to Phineas is something that, like, if you didn't have television,
yes,
the kids don't have television. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I was a little worried because I've realized over the last few years, coming of age stories don't always work for me. So I was like, oh, I wonder how I'm going to get on with this one. But it was fine. Yeah.
It was good. I bet you would have liked it more if they were gay.
Well, yeah.
Because it would have been more believable.
Yeah. Because again, we were right there, right on that little edge.
You were just like,
oh my gosh. What if Knowles did write it gay and the publisher was like, that back end, buddy?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm just saying, what if? What if that's what happened?
Well, because
we're right there.
We're very close. And also, like, there is this sort of traditionally in queer or like queer coded narratives or a queer coded character, there is something bad that happens to them.
Like in passing.
Or in Rebecca with Mrs. Danvers, or like you can just keep going. And in movies as well, they're like, if you have like a very queer coded character, usually something bad happens to them.
There you have it. I'm just wondering.
I mean, maybe what I'm picking up on is there, and that's why I'm picking up on it.
Yeah.
Because this is, I'm sorry, they're queer as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Good job, Mr. Knowles. Good job.
I don't know if he's alive anymore. We should Google that. Okay.
This is long.
I'm just wondering. I think he might be done.
Good job. Good job. Yeah.
Good job, John Knowles.
Have you read a separate piece, folks? Let us know. What did you think about it?
What did I think about it? He died in 2001 in Fort Lauderdale.
Wow. 24 years ago.
He went to Oyster Bay High School. Good old New Yorker.
Have you watched the movie?
No, I haven't. I didn't even know there was a movie.
Yeah, because this is the movie cover.
Show me. Oh.
Yeah. This was a Showtime. This was a Showtime original picture.
I'm sure I can find it.
Yeah, now I need to check it.
Watch it. I can do that.
Now, see, these blurbs make sense. These blurbs make sense. A model of restraint, deeply felt, and beautifully written. I can get with that. Yeah. Okay.
It's a 1972 movie. But that might be a different one.
Has something to say about youth and war that few contemporary novelists have attempted to say, and none has said it better. Okay. Sometimes blurbs don't lie, I guess.
They remade it in 2004, but the original movie was 1972.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. So we learned something today.
All right. Sure did.
Mine doesn't.
Oh, this was on the inside of mine.
Oh,
I love Parker. That. I love that. This is checked out from the English department at J.R. Tucker High School. I love it.
I just like that this was $5.50. Remember when books were cheap?
Oh my gosh, yes. Isn't that amazing? That's amazing.
Anyway. Oh wait, do I have a quote? A quietly vital and cleanly written novel that moves page by page towards the most interesting target. Truman Capote.
Oh. Does yours have on the inside books by John Knowles? Because he's got a book called Phineas.
No, mine only has a piece breaks out and a separate piece.
He's got a lot of books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I will only read a book about Phineas if he makes Phineas gay.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
Well, there
And
you have it, folks.
I don't see him fulfilling my needs.
Yeah.
In this department.
Interesting.
Anyway, is it book recommendation time?
It sure is.
Sweet.
It sure is.
What you got?
I have another audiobook. Can you believe it?
Who are you?
Who am I? Who am I? Alyssa and I are both a part of Libro FM's ALC program. So we get advanced listener copies. And I listened to, can people see that?
Sort of.
Mainline Mama by Keonna Harris. Fascinating.
What's it about?
This is her memoir. All right. So Keonna, was in school doing her thing. She was on track to go to college and be a doctor and do all these great things. Her dad really wasn't around. He was, a guy of the streets, in and out of jail, whatever. But her mom was holding her down. She, married this other guy who was great. So, she had a pretty good family dynamic going. But she meets this guy and she gets pregnant in her teens and has this baby. And then he immediately goes to jail. And so this is her memoir about what it's like to be a mainline mama, having someone in jail that you're constantly trying to keep a connection to. And it shows all the many ways in which you have to find ways to, get to these jails, to secure, visitation. And I did not know it was this difficult. The things that she had to do, making connections and relationships with other women who have men in jail, to form these partnerships, to do something as simple as saving a space in the line the night before they visit their men in jail, so they're at the front of the line versus being in the line miles back. I mean, I was fascinated at all the things that you have to do just so that you can make it to see your man every week in these jails. I mean, it's so complicated. It's so complicated. And also the things they go through, some of that stuff feels so demeaning, but she's going through all these things and, she has another kid by someone else and that's a whole thing. And you learn about the backstory of her first kid's father, the one that's in jail. So you kind of get an understanding of what he's gone through and what he's struggling with. But it was a fascinating memoir. You don't know what it's like to have to keep a connection with someone in jail until you actually are in the midst of trying to keep a connection to someone in jail. It is not easy. She talks about how he gets moved a couple of times to a different state. Now you got to figure out that new jail system. When before at the other jail, you make connections with the prison guards. They all know you and it's an easier little setup. Now you got to do it all over again at a new place. You got to find more women to connect with to make your journey a little bit easier. And it's doing that over and over again over the years. It's exhausting. Horrible. It's exhausting. Yeah. But you do become a pro at figuring out, okay, new place, this is what I got to do. Step one, this, step two, that. But it's a lot. In the midst of this, she's raising these children on her own. She's gone back to school full time to get her education, to finish her degree. And she's working. And still visiting this guy every week. It's a lot. I'm how did she do all of that? This is not easy.
Because women are amazing.
That's what I was getting from it.
Because women are amazing.
I was just I was floored. It's a lot to endure. It is one of the most fascinating memoirs I've ever read. Highly recommend Mainline Mama by Keonna Harris. And thank you, Libro, for this ALC. Now,
wonderful.
Buy the book because I need it on my shelves. Oh, good. There we go.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy this because I need this on my shelves. For sure.
Well, I don't think I don't think I downloaded that one. Now I'm ooh, I should have. Okay, so I thrifted this recently and read it, and it's a favorite book of one of my friends, and I really liked this. I don't think this is going to be for everybody. But it's by Grand Central. By Grand Central Station, I sat down and wept by Elizabeth Smart. This is kind of like a long, because Elizabeth Smart is also somebody that like, wasn't she like abducted or was like living in or like trapped in a basement for years or something
maybe
like that?
so.
But that's not who this is.
Okay.
So this is like basically a really long lyrical prose about a woman who has a relationship with this married man and the things that happen to them. And it's very beautifully written. It has a lot of like biblical references, a lot of like literary references. It is, if you like really like poetic prose, you will probably love this. But it's like filled with like longing and female desire, and is a really good snapshot of America in this time period. I think we're like around the 40s, and because they get arrested at one point because they're crossing state lines, and it's like you can't just take an unmarried lady across state lines because you must be doing up to no good, right?
That's right.
And like that passage is really beautiful, and it becomes this like riff on the Song of Solomon when she's talking about that. There's discussions of like pregnancy, babies, bisexuality because the man is bisexual. It's really, really, I think, an amazing read. And it kind of mirrors her own life with her. She was in a relationship with a married, I think he was a poet. So it's kind of based a little bit on that relationship that she had. It was so good. I have been looking for it for a really long time.
Wow.
And I finally just found it randomly at the book barn on a random trip there.
Your book barn never lets you down.
It doesn't. Some days are better than others, but every so often I just poke my head in there, and I was very glad to have this. It's a slim little thing. But I wouldn't devour it. If you like these kinds of books, I would slowly sit with it. It's really like reading an epic poem, like a long poem, right?
Got it.
But it's prose. It's so lovely and like moving at times. And I think it speaks very frankly about things like sexuality and suicide and you know, amoral desires. Like, it's really quite a lovely book. Yeah. So, and it's like really really beautifully written. Like this is top notch writing, right? Like you don't see a lot of this stuff. So, I don't know what other stuff she has, but I'll have to find it. I know she's got like she's like a poet predominantly. So I'll have to look for more, but yep.
I love that. Fantastic.
So that's that.
Fantastic. Woo! Well, we have done it.
Excellent.
We recorded 3 episodes. All right, folks. Follow us everywhere at TBR Lowdown. Visit our website at tbrlowdown.com. Join in on our book club reads. Join in on our annual reading challenge. And subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. And share this with 10 friends. 10 is the lucky number today. All right. That's going to do it for us. We're out of here. Bye.
Bye.